They say that sometimes the smallest moments can change a person's entire life. A chance meeting, a simple question, even something as ordinary as a parking ticket. But what if a stack of parking tickets, 12 of them to be exact, became the key to uncovering a hidden truth? And what if that truth ended up saving someone who didn't even realize how close they were to losing everything? This is The Parking Ticket That Saved a Life, an emotional courtroom story about compassion, resilience, and the power of being seen. Truly seen. A story that begins with frustration and ends with redemption. A story about a single mom, a compassionate judge, and a moment in court that shocked everyone in the room. It all begins on an early Tuesday morning in downtown Providence. The courthouse hallways are busy, but not chaotic. People are waiting their turn for minor violations, expired meters, broken taillights, petty disputes, the kind of everyday problems that fill a courtroom in any American city. Among them sits a woman named Emily Carson, a 32-year-old single mother. Her hair is pulled back tightly, not because she wants it neat, but because she hasn't had time or a place to properly get ready in weeks. She clutches a worn folder against her chest, containing nothing more than a few crumpled notices, 12 unpaid parking tickets. Most people in the room assume she's just irresponsible, another person who ignored warnings until it became a problem. But those assumptions are about to be shattered. When her name is called, Emily steps forward. She walks carefully, as if afraid her presence alone might break something. Her eyes never fully meet the judge's. Behind the bench sits Judge Harold Benson, a man known for his calm voice and surprising compassion. Some people in the city call him the People's Judge. He's stern when he needs to be, but he listens, really listens, to every story placed before him. He looks down at his notes and raises an eyebrow. Miss Carson, you have 12 unpaid parking tickets. These go back nearly 6 months. Letters were sent, notices were issued, but there's been no response. Can you explain why? His tone isn't angry, just curious, but to Emily, even curiosity feels like pressure. She swallows hard. I don't have an excuse. Her voice is almost a whisper. The courtroom is quiet. The judge leans back slightly, studying her. Ms. Carson, ignoring this many tickets is unusual. Most people at least pay 1 or 2. You've paid none, not a single one. Why? Emily's hands tremble around her folder. She looks down. I'm sorry, she says again. I just couldn't. It's not the answer he's looking for. He gently presses further. Couldn't or didn't. That's when it happens. Emily's eyes fill with tears. Tears she's tried so hard to swallow for weeks. The kind of tears that signal a breaking point, not weakness. Her voice cracks. I didn't have anywhere else to park because I was living in my car. A murmur ripples through the courtroom. The judge's expression softens instantly. Living in your car? He repeats quietly. He leans forward. Ms. Carson, please take your time. You're safe here. Tell me what's going on. And for the first time in months, she lets someone in. Emily explains how she ended up here. She used to rent a small 2-bedroom apartment not far from the city center. She worked full-time at a daycare, raising her 6-year-old daughter. Lily life wasn't easy, but it was stable, until she met the man who would nearly destroy everything. His name was Aaron. At first, he was charming, supportive, and helpful, but over time, that charm turned into control, and that control turned into abuse, physical at times, emotional, always. Emily left as soon as she could. She took Lily and ran. But leaving her abuser meant leaving her apartment, her belongings, and her sense of security. She didn't have family. Nearby, friends tried to help, but none had room to take in 2 people long-term. And so, she ended up living in her old Honda Civic, her only possession not tied to her ex. She parked wherever she felt it was safe, near streetlights, behind busy buildings, places where she wouldn't feel completely alone. But those safe spots were often illegal parking zones, areas where staying overnight meant getting a ticket. At first, I tried moving every few hours, she tells the judge, wiping her eyes. But with my daughter asleep in the back seat, I just couldn't keep doing that. I didn't want to wake her. I didn't want her to know. The judge nods slowly. His voice is gentle but steady. So you received tickets, not because you didn't care, but because you didn't have a home. Streaming now. Yes, I wasn't trying to break the law. I just had nowhere else to go. And every dollar I made went to Lily. Food, gas, anything to keep her safe. She hesitates. I was hoping I'd save enough to get a room, even just for a week. But every time I saved $20, I'd find another ticket. I started avoiding the mail because I knew what was inside. A few people in the courtroom lower their heads. It's painful to hear. The judge clears his throat, visibly moved. Miss Carson, he says softly, why didn't you ask for help? Her answer is simple and heartbreaking. Because no one ever believed me before. There is a long pause. The judge looks down at the stack of tickets on his desk. 12 tickets. Over $600 in fines. For Emily, that might as well be $600,000. Then he looks back at her. Ms. Carson, he begins, I want you to understand something. This courtroom is not here to punish people for being poor. It's here to ensure justice is done. And justice isn't just about rules. It's about context. Emily doesn't speak. She's afraid to hope. But, he continues, I need to ask you something important. Is your daughter safe right now? Emily nods. She's with a co-worker from the daycare. She thinks we're just staying with friends. The judge takes a slow breath. All right. He turns to the clerk. Please pull up all tickets under Ms. Carson's vehicle plate. The clerk quickly gathers the information. The judge scans it. Most of these violations are for overnight parking in restricted zones, some near elementary schools, some near hospitals, some near police stations. He pauses. You didn't park randomly. You parked where you felt protected. Emily nods again. Yes, I didn't want anything to happen to Lily. Another silence falls over the room. This time, it feels heavier, but also strangely hopeful. The judge finally speaks. Mrs. Carson, it seems clear to me that these parking tickets are not the problem here. The problem is that you and your daughter are in crisis, and you shouldn't be punished for trying to keep your child safe. He turns the papers face down. I am dismissing all 12 parking tickets. Gasps echo in the courtroom. Emily's knees nearly buckle. You're dismissing them? She whispers. Yes, he says firmly. Every single one. She covers her mouth, sobbing quietly, but the judge isn't finished. However, he adds, we're not stopping there. Emily looks up confused. I'm contacting the city's social services right now, not tomorrow, not next week, today. They will help you secure emergency shelter. They will help you access domestic violence resources, and they will help you get back on your feet. He points gently at her folder. These parking tickets, they're not your story. They're a symptom of your struggle. And the fact that you're still standing here, doing everything you can for your daughter, tells me you have more strength than you realize. Emily covers her face, crying openly now. People in the courtroom wipe their eyes too. One woman whispers, God bless her. A man shakes his head and says, that judge did the right thing. Emily finally manages to speak. Thank you so much, she says, voice shaking. No one's ever helped me like this before. The judge nods. You don't have to thank me. You just have to take this opportunity and rebuild your life. Your daughter needs you, and you deserve a chance. He pauses again. Before you leave, one more thing. Emily looks up nervously. I'm ordering the court liaison to escort you directly to the city resource office. You will not leave this building alone. Is that clear? She nods quickly. Yes, thank you, Your Honor. As she turns to walk away, her steps are still cautious, but lighter. It's the first time in months she's walked without fear of what tomorrow might bring. The judge waits until she's escorted out, then quietly moves on to the next case. But everyone in that room knows they've witnessed something unusual. Not just a legal decision, but an act of humanity. The kind of moment that reminds you why compassion matters, why listening matters, why small acts, even something as simple as a judge asking, why, can change someone's life. Over the next few weeks, Emily receives real help. a safe shelter, counseling, a new housing program for domestic violence survivors, people who believe her, people who support her. And in time, she finds a small apartment where Lily finally has her own bed again, a place with warm light and a working heater, a place where they can breathe. Emily writes a letter to Judge Benson months later. It reads, "You didn't just dismiss parking tickets. You gave my daughter her mother back. Thank you for seeing me when I was invisible to everyone else." So, what's the lesson in all this? Sometimes the things we think are problems, parking tickets, overdue bills, missed deadlines, are just the surface. There's always a story underneath, someone's fight, someone's fear, someone's survival. Compassion doesn't erase consequences, but compassion helps us understand them. This was more than a parking ticket story, more than a single mom court case. It was an emotional courtroom moment that shows what happens when justice meets empathy, when a judge's compassion becomes the turning point in someone's life. And maybe, just maybe, it reminds us to look a little deeper at the people around us, because you never know whose life might be saved by something as small as a parking ticket or something as powerful as kindness.